Hello and welcome to Salubrious Skin with Dr. Irene podcast. This podcast is all about how to attain healthier skin. You may be struggling with a skin condition such as psoriasis or eczema or acne, or perhaps a condition that causes the skin to become unhealthy, such as PCOS or irritable bowel or Crohn's disease. Regardless of what your condition is, healthy skin is attained by having a healthy body. So my mission is about bringing a huge array of experts to your attention in various areas of health. I hope you find this information knowledgeable and insightful and helpful for your specific journey in having better health. Remember to always connect with us through Facebook at Dr. Irene Prantelos, Psoriasis and Healthy Skin. You can email me at info@salubre.com.au. I hope you enjoy the show, and please feel free to give us any sort of insight into what you feel you need to hear in future episodes. Hello and welcome to Salubrious Skin with Dr. Irene. My guest today is Maddie Race. Now, I've got a little bit of a blurb to say here, so don't forget anything, Maddie. Maddie Race is a certified health coach, cooking teacher, recipe developer, blogger, and mother of two. Maddie is passionate about inspiring families to eat the best quality food possible and cook from scratch using real ingredients so that they can be the healthiest and happiest versions of themselves. It is Maddie's greatest dream to see improved food education in schools so that kids have a fair and educated start with their food journey for vitality and longevity. As a mum, Maddie has battled through the myths and challenges of motherhood. Through her own passion for the hope of a healthier world, Maddie has inspired and empowered her family, and in particular her children, to be mindful of the food that surrounds them. Maddie is a huge advocate for inspiring people to eat real food and for her delicious, healthy, family-friendly recipes and delicious smoothies. One of Maddie's greatest loves is getting kids in the kitchen and teaching them the valuable life skill of cooking and food education. Maddie's journey in the health and wellness industry commenced when she created a kids cooking school, Kids Say Yum. Through her after-school cooking program for a period of 4 years, she inspired and educated hundreds of kids in the kitchen. From this passion, Maddie has been awarded an ambassador role to Jamie Oliver's Food Revolution and continues to cook up a storm with kids in her local school community. She is also an ambassador to That Sugar film, where she continues to raise awareness of the dangers of a diet high in sugar. With all these efforts, Maddie has often been spotted in local newspapers spreading the news, awareness and importance of food education and healthy eating. Maddie has been invited to many podcast shows, including my own, as a speaker to health and wellness events as she continues to spread the health and wellness love. Thank you, Maddie. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Amazing work you're doing, especially around the space of kids. That's so important, isn't it?
Yeah, kids is a big thing. It's a topic hot out there, and it's something that we all can contribute to. So I suppose it's education, inspiration, and we've got to keep putting pressure and keep bringing this to the attention and to the forefront.
Yeah, because to be completely honest, my mum always cooked from scratch and always prepared beautiful meals, but she had 3 hairdressing salons and each of them was next to a cake shop.
Oh.
So even after I had psoriasis at 11, even after that, I would go in and get my Fanta or Coke.
Yeah.
I'd get my pie or pasty. And if I didn't get a pie or pasty, I'd get a cake, like a chocolate cake or fudge cake or something. And if I got a pie and pasty, I'd get a caramel koala or something.
Oh my God.
So people say to me, "Oh, you poor thing, you don't have sugar." I'm thinking, I've had so much sugar as a kid.
Yeah.
I think it was my life's amount. So I'm perfectly fine with no sugar. And, I think, it was definitely a contributing factor to the psoriasis. So, educating kids that this isn't the way to live. And like I said, my mum did heaps to have us a great home cooked meal. It's just what I was doing away from home that I didn't know that I was feeding my body poison.
Yeah, that's right. And it's hard for kids to understand that. So it's more about so the more I work with kids, the more I we've got to keep things real, because these things happen. Like, you've got to go through the journey of life and go, okay, well, I'm not going to turn around and not go to the cake shop, or so it's all about, and I've done the same, and my kids have done the same. So, but it's all about listening to your body, as we always talk about. And when the kids are at a stage where they go, oh my gosh, something has to give here. Why is my skin like this? When they start asking the questions why, they can hopefully turn around and go, maybe it has something to do with the sugar. And that's pretty much what it's all about. So it's planting that seed of education, and saying to them, this is what it's all about, and empowering them. And then when they make that decision to make a change, because it's a very fine line. You don't want kids to get too, worried about the food that they're eating, and then you create other issues with, food. Not, they don't want to put on weight, and all this stuff with anorexia and all the rest of it. So it's a very fine line. It is educating and empowering the children.
Yeah, and obviously with sugar and a lot of junk food, skin has a massive toll as a result, and throw in the hormones and puberty, and wanting to fit in and having this visual appearance. So I guess letting at least parents understand the correlation there, and letting them teach their kids that, hey, you do actually have the ability to improve the health of your skin with what you're choosing to eat. So it's about moderation too, wouldn't it be?
It is. And in fairness to the children, you've only got to look around and see what they're surrounded with.
Yeah.
So, and we all know that, there's, banning marketing on, gambling and all that sort of stuff when it comes to football games and things like that. But our poor children are surrounded by junk food. And, that is one driving factor that, when they go to anywhere, be it, even at school, like they might be teaching them healthy choices in school, but as soon as they go out into the playground and they go to the canteen, there's an issue there with, oh my gosh, well, all of a sudden we've got unhealthy options for children. So kids are getting these very mixed messages, and it's very hard for children to decode. And you know what? It's not their priority either.
Yeah, for sure.
They don't care. So it's all about us trying to educate. For me, I want to educate as many mums as possible, because it's, the mums are going to be the consistent ripple effect that we need to create a change in children's lives. So,
So I have I've had a couple of patients, because my little boy's not at school yet. He's only just over 2. So I'm not really sure what the situation is. But they've both mentioned to me that, food choices in the canteen aren't great. And then when they suggest things are changed, they're met with this massive force of from the parents and the school. Why change anything? Everything's fine. So where's the school systems now? I'm like I said, I'm not kind of.
Well, it's quite difficult, because it is schools are independent. So there are guidelines that schools can follow, but you don't have to abide by those guidelines.
Okay.
So it really is up to the individual school and what that school's priorities are. Unfortunately, as we know in the world, it's profits come first. So, and sometimes it's overwhelming for canteens to go, okay, well, how do we make a change, and how do we put healthier options out there? And there are some amazing canteens doing that. They're buying thermomixes, and they're making real food, and they're involving the children in that whole process. And to me, that just makes sense. But to a person that health is not a priority, it probably is all too hard, and they just go, oh, we're just happy with the packaged food. Let's warm it up and let's serve it. And it's easy. So
convenient.
It is the convenience. And unfortunately, at the moment, there's no governing body to say, well, no, this has to stop. So I'm hoping that one day it gets to that point. But it's up to individual schools and all that sort of thing. So it's quite sad for the kids.
how would you approach, say, a parent is seeing their child making not the greatest choices? What sort of tips would you have for a mum who wants to inspire their child to make those changes? You know, they see that, like, for instance, with me, my mum would see me come back from the cake shop with a couple of bags, and I'd go to the back of the salon, and she'd always say, "You made good choices, Irene." I'm like, "Sure, yep, I did." And she's seeing the can of whatever in my hands, and she's just thinking, no, that's not a good choice. But so how do you kind of assist that transition of, you know, in a way you want to fit in and eat what everyone else is eating. You don't want to come with your own bag of stuff that, you know, people are going to say, oh, yuck, what's that?
Yeah.
So I guess what tips do you have for mums to assist their kid to transition to a healthier diet without stressing out, and like you said about the body image stuff?
Absolutely. The biggest thing I can say is look at what you're doing yourself as a mum. So have a look at your habits, have a look at your relationship with food. So if you've got a certain relationship with food, your kids will sense that, and your kids will sometimes imitate that. And in particular, parenthood is stressful. So if there's an emotional connection to food, every time things get too hard, if we turn to food, that can easily be, you know, I suppose, transferred onto a family. So I always take that classic scenario with mums, and I say it's like being on an airplane. And when they say you give your oxygen mask to yourself first, there's a reason for that. So when it comes to healthy eating, I always say to mums, look, start with yourself. Look at yourself and see what you're doing. And then, you know, your kids are going to go, well, that's the norm in our house. And they start to become proud of it as well. And they start to go, no, I want to take that to school. And kids start to, like my daughter more so, because girls like to talk. I don't know how many parents come up to me and go, Maddie, I don't know what you put in your daughter's lunchbox, but my daughter always comes home in envy, and they tell me that I'm a boring mum. And I go, well, that's because we love to really put some real fun things in lunchboxes and try something new. And she gets really excited about sharing that with her friends and talking about it. So
what would be some examples? Like what would be a typical lunchbox, would you say?
Yeah, typical lunchbox for us would be things like, obviously you're starting with some fruit. I don't deprive my children of having a treat per se, but I bake. So to be in control of the amount of sugar that's in your diet, get out there and start cooking. That's the next biggest tip I say to people is, you know, it's all about clean eating. So making sure that every ingredient that goes into something that you make, you understand and you know that it's a living thing. You know that it's not something that's come out of a factory. So for my kids, it's, you know, be it a piece of banana cake, you know, some sort of muffin or a homemade muesli bar. And then lunchtime, it could be, you know, falafel wraps with some nice salads to go with it. Or it could be cold, you know, salads as well. It could be finger food like, you know, meatballs and, you know, tomatoes and all that sort of stuff. Or I make my own like pizza scrolls, and it all depends on the season. So at the moment we're transitioning. So I know my kids have taken like today they've taken like a homemade pizza scroll, because we've got a pizza oven. So I batch in the pizza oven and make a heap of different scrolls, and then I throw them in the freezer. So
great.
So it's all about, I suppose, being smart about you know, what you do with your children, and you know, and then you say, I talk to them and I say, I always ask them, did you like what was in your lunchbox? Did it taste great? Was it fresh? Because if it does taste good and if it is fresh, they're going to want it again. So probably the one biggest reject that you get with children is that, you know, I can always remember a really soggy tomato sandwich in my lunch.
I know, yes.
So it was like, I don't want my children to have soggy sandwiches.
Yes.
So it's talking to the children and then involving them. They pack their own lunch boxes. I help with, you know, facilitating, making sure that there's a variety. It's up to them. I empower them, and I have done so. Like my kids are teenagers now, so they're, you know, 13 and 14. So they've been doing this since they were about 6 years old, I've been making them their own lunchbox.
Yeah.
That's a great way.
And so with getting the recipes together, so I'm thinking someone, let's just say someone who not necessarily does cook a lot, or is used to the whole sandwich thing, and it's just easy, quick, let's just put two pieces of bread together and something in the middle. What would you kind of recommend they get started with, so that something that, I guess, like you said, is freezable, but it's easy as well? Because I think everyone's just expects that this takes a lot of time, and it doesn't necessarily have to take a lot of time, I don't think.
No, it's that whole principle of working smarter, not harder. So I always say to parents, I never want to overwhelm anyone. And like where I'm at today, it's taken me 6 or 7 years to get to the point where, I'm sort of happy with what my kids are eating. And then there are days where I think, oh my gosh, can you not take something that's not brown in your lunchbox? It's not brown. We talk about colours. So I say to parents, pick one thing and focus on that, because it's one positive change that you're making. So if it's the boring old sandwich that you just go, oh my gosh, I want my child to move on from white bread and Vegemite. Just look at ways of going, okay, well, can I move to a wholemeal bread, and can I, start to see how adventurous I can become with that particular sandwich, or give them another option. And if they do like it, then you go, okay, well, let's see where else this can go. And don't try and overhaul the whole lunchbox. So always start with one. And when you've got that right, when it becomes real, when you're really happy with where you're going with that, and your child's starting to give you some positive dialogue and their lunchbox is coming home empty, that's when you can move on to the next thing. So it's all about crowding out the worst offenders. And, it's not about changing everything that you're doing. It's just being, I know people are busy. We're all busy, and we do shortcuts because other things, do come into priority. So it's just a matter of prioritizing just one thing and slotting that in, so that you've got that brain space for it. And,
that's a great idea, I think, just one thing, because I think it's the overwhelm that puts people off.
Absolutely.
And, even if it's what they have after school, then, even the snacks after school, what would I be doing? And it's amazing, I always make homemade pizza, because I've got a Thermomix as well. And anyone listening who doesn't have a Thermomix, the pizza dough you make, my nephews are 19 and 22, so they're very open about telling you how good or bad your cooking is. No love lost when it comes to telling you how bad it is. And my nephew, the younger one, the 19-year-old, is like, this is the best pizza I've ever eaten.
I love it.
And my little boy, because I look at him going, dude, I just did it in the Thermomix, and then I just threw toppings on top, and I just do a typical pineapple and ham and cheese, but if they're all organic, I don't want to not give my child all the variety, but I try to choose the organic options. And so my little boy's used to eating that, and we went to my cousin's for her birthday party, and she had just pizza from the store, whatever, a pizza shop, and I was quite thin. And I cut some and put it in his mouth, and he just spat it out. It's like, why are you giving me this food? This is disgusting. And I was like, oh no, I did give a little bit of food before we left, but I hadn't brought anything with me. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, this child's going to starve tonight. But I ended up giving him some milk. He just refused to eat it because it was so thin, and he was used to the texture of the homemade pizza. So
that's right. And his palate. That's right. Their palate is, this is the biggest issue that we've got, is we're training our palates to crave the processed foods and to accept those. And, when we're eating a diet high in processed foods, that's just continually breeding that palate of, the sugar and, all those flavors. And then when you go to, eating something that's real, your palate goes, oh my gosh, what's happening? So that your son is experiencing the reverse.
Hopefully I've brainwashed him enough, but we'll see when he gets older. So if you're talking about listening to your body and listening to what your body needs. This is something that I often get asked. What if my body says I need coffee? Or what if my body says I need a biscuit or I need a piece of cake? What kind of are your recommendations there?
Yeah, well, we've got to put it into context. So you've got to say, okay, well, how does my day look? Is that one coffee the demon, or is it just the norm, or is it something that, it's one thing that is not that bad in the whole context, in the whole scheme of my daily, diet and what I'm doing, and, everything that I'm adding in, or that one biscuit. So it's all about your body's craving food because there's, you're not feeding it the right amount of, be it proteins, or you're not satiating your body so that it's, going, okay, I feel content now. So if there's a blood sugar issue there, I would say, well, you need to look at what you're doing and look at, crowding out those cravings. So it would be simple. If it's a 10:30 coffee, we could say, well, what did you have for breakfast? You could probably eliminate that 10:30 craving for a biscuit and a coffee. Okay. So it's really hard to pinpoint a correct answer in that, but it's all about, when I work with clients, we really look at food diaries, we really look at, habits, and we really look at, what they're actually eating on a consistent cycle. And we, Mondays are probably one of the worst days because, we're overindulged and, our bodies are probably saying, hey, give me back what we had yesterday, or we might have had a glass of wine, or we may not have drunk enough water. There's so many factors why our body, sends us those signals.
And I love that you said it's not necessarily the craving you're having at that moment, it's what you actually perhaps ate as a previous meal. So that's really looking at the whole broad spectrum of your daily intake versus right now, because we're very much about fulfilling that need we have right now. So if you actually take a step back and go, well, maybe you're craving this because, like you said, your breakfast wasn't sufficient enough, or maybe it was too many high GI carbs, so you've just now crashed and you need that pickup. And I think the food diary is a perfect idea for people to identify what they are lacking, as well as what they need to introduce too.
Absolutely.
So what foods would you say are great for skin?
Great for skin?
If you have a client come in with, skin issues, what would be something like some advice you would offer them as far as skin?
First and foremost, I would ask them, are they hydrating themselves? Because, are we drinking enough water? Because it's quite surprising the amount of people who are dehydrated.
So true.
And it's our livers are suffering, and we're not flushing toxins out of our system. So your skin is obviously your largest organ in your body. So when things start to flare up on your skin, that is that number one, alert to go, well, okay, let's take a look at what's going on. So for me, I always just say to people, real food, just, look at, getting into those smoothies, those antioxidants, that raw food, that, those things that your body can, easily digest, and it can help with the detoxification. But in saying that, we've also got to look at, if you're doing that, you can't just have a green smoothie a day and think your skin's going to be great. And still have your coffee and your biscuit. It's not going to work. So we need to also make sure that we're backing it up with eating real food, loading up your diet with lots of beautiful veggies, and, cutting back on those refined, carbs and all those foods that are going to clog your system back up. So you're going to start making the effort, making your smoothies and things like that. Just try to keep itching further and take steps further. So, I always talk about eating a rainbow. When you start eating a rainbow, you start to glow, and people start to notice, people go, oh my gosh, you look so healthy, or, the whites of your eyes start to really clear up because, your body is detoxing itself. And then, what follows is, beautiful skin and less irritation and, all that sort of stuff. So
I do have a lot of people say that I don't look my age. And I say to them, I'm never doing anti-aging stuff. It's just my whole life has been focused on being alkaline, to have healthy skin. And I think it offsets onto other aspects. So
absolutely,
the aging process is one of them. You can accelerate it, or you can potentially slow it down. I've never been someone who has to look younger. It's never been on my radar. It's always about managing the skin conditions. But I think as a sort of a added benefit, you do look healthier and younger as well.
Oh, 100%.
And I had a look at your website, which is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So, you know, you have so many resources there. So if someone has this passion to change their diet and wants to do things but has no idea, what sort of resources do you have available on your website that they can head on over and have a look?
Yeah, so they can sign up, and I give away a free smoothie ebook, and there's 7 smoothies. So one thing that I've really noticed that changed my life when I started to really get into a healthier me, because I did have a diet high in processed food, and I was really good with my kids, but I was really bad with myself. And I'm sure I suffered from adrenal fatigue and all that sort of stuff, because I was just pouring all my love into the children, and that's where I'm going, this is all wrong. So when I started to really get serious about health, the smoothies were a massive part of my health journey, and it really got me onto upping my veggie and fruit intake, where I would not have normally taken those amount of veggies in my diet. So I often run smoothie challenges because I love them. So part of when you sign up to my website, it's all about, you get your free smoothie ebook, and, there's 7 recipes there, and, they're all different, colors, and, there's a mixture of vegetables in there and lots of greens, like be it that they're hidden and be it that it's a green smoothie. There's a lot of baby spinach in smoothies. So, so they can get that. There's also, I'm just trying to think of what else I've got on my website. I go on there and I change it all the time. So the best part of getting inspiration from me is probably connecting on social media, because I'm always posting up information or doing live Facebook cooking demos or anything like that. So it is all about inspiration and education.
So how would they connect on Facebook? Would they just put Maddie Race in?
Yeah, so Maddie Race Health Coach, just search that up and my page will come up. So they do that. And look, it's all about, and I quite often give away, brochures on, be it clean eating, or I give away tips. I'm very conscious of not overwhelming people. So I tend to, people that join my tribe tend to know that I focus on things, and then I go, okay, well, I don't want you walking away from this post or from a demo or whatever I've done overwhelmed, because I want to stimulate change.
Yeah.
So I really want, people just to do one thing, and we've spoken about this before. If people just take one thing away, even from this interview, if they take that one thing away and go, I'm going to try that, that is, the stimulus of change, and that ripple effect starts.
Yeah. And then you start, like you said, your body starts craving it. And
absolutely.
Sometimes I've had people say, I can't change my diet. This is something that I just need to deal with, meaning me. I need to deal with it if I can't change it. And sometimes we just start with, like one patient was alcohol. We said, I said, are you comfortable with stopping alcohol? She goes, yeah, that's fine. I don't mind that. And then that kind of then led her to the next step and the next step. And then she accidentally got pregnant, which was just, her body was healthier. So, every cell in your body gets healthy. It's not like you just target the skin or you target, a digestive system. You literally, it's infiltrating every cell. So that was kind of an accident, but a happy accident at the end of the day.
Happy accident.
Yeah, I think introducing smoothies, instead of looking at maybe me stopping coffee, because a lot of people find that they need their coffee to get on the day.
Of course.
Smoothies are great, full of vitality and energy. So
absolutely,
that giveaway that you got as a free smoothie mix, and that's a great idea to create different intake of vegetables every day as well, instead of doing the same one. So my husband has the same smoothie every day. Yeah, raspberries. We've got frozen organic raspberries. His almond milk and his protein powder.
I love it.
But I'm like, whatever. That's how you roll. That's fine.
Yeah.
I say to him, why don't you put some banana, or why don't you put a bit of apple? And he's like, nah, I want my raspberries.
Yeah,
So,
this is what I'm doing, and I'm happy with that.
That's it. I think if you really like the flavour of what you're eating, it's a good idea to at least be on the right road.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think also not stressing, right? You said don't really stress about
that's right.
eating
So,
badly.
yeah, and we all know that when you start eating lighter, we start swaying away from those foods that really create brain fog and all that sort of thing, we start to think lighter as well. And that's another huge milestone that when you're on the road to a healthier lifestyle, your brain fog lifts. So, and then you start to make some really positive changes. And that's when you really start to, to make those, really grab those goals and just run with it. So it's so important. Like I can't stress it enough.
And being part of your community, I think as well, just allows people to present any sort of obstacles they might have. Okay, well, this is the challenge I'm dealing with, and other people that may have experienced that can offer a bit of insight into how they've managed it.
Absolutely, because we all learn from each other and we're all inspired by each other, and the internet is a resource full of so much good and so much bad, but it's incredible. Like, I was only talking this morning to my cousin about the internet, and I was a bit stressed because we were having connection issues, and I'm thinking, how am I going to do this podcast interview? But thanks to Telstra, they sorted out my problems. But,
that's good.
but it's, the internet is just, has so much resources out there, and that empowering, and, just even if you become part of one tribe that you really resonate with, and, that you find inspiration from that's an amazing, it's like, making yourself accountable.
Yeah. So to recap, I would say, inspire mums to practice what they preach. So to show their children what behaviours they want around the food space. Start small. So choose one thing to change in the lunchbox, whether that's sandwiches or snacks or after school snacks. Also maybe introduce smoothies into your day, whether that be breakfast or when they come home from school, because that'd be a nice energy drink for them as well. Not to drink energy drinks, no Red Bull, none of that.
Natural energy, Irene.
Yeah, natural energy. And to really become part of a community, to be inspired by other people, and to have that ability to ask any questions they may have that could be presenting as a bit of a roadblock for them, that they feel they need a little bit of clarity on. So I think that's a huge amount of change that a body, as a Chinese medicine practitioner, I would be rapt with patients doing things to that intensity, because you would see massive amounts of change pretty quickly, wouldn't you? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, you do. And it's when you start to see those changes, you're inspired to continue and carry on. So, definitely. And it's patience is the biggest thing. Just be patient and don't expect things to be a quick fix, because we hear it on the radio all the time. It's all about diets and lose 5 kilos in your first week and all this sort of stuff. I never talk about a diet. I just talk about becoming healthier and happier in your own skin. And the diet and the weight loss and everything else, that all follows. That's a consequence to your actions. So if we can eliminate that word and go, okay, well, sure, weight loss is a goal, but make that goal, in a way that it's, that you're doing it for the right reasons. Like, I eat healthy. My why is I eat healthy because I want to be on this planet for the longest amount of time possible. I want to be the best nonna ever for my kids' grandkids. So, dig into that why. It's not just about looking and feeling good's fantastic, but dig into that real deep why and get really serious about why should you eat well. And when you do, everything resorts back to that. You're creating, beautiful cultures for your children and in your families, and they're the things. Kids always talk about memories of food. We talk about them. You talk about your memories of food, be it good or bad.
Yeah.
Our memories, we talk about our parents, and it's always around food. So make it a good food.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, I think head on over to your website, because I saw so many recipes there.
Yeah, there's heaps,
if you feel you need inspiration, I'm definitely going to go over and steal several.
Yeah, please do.
Sometimes you get a little bit stuck, don't you? You kind of do the same 5 recipes and rotate them.
Oh, yeah.
And also you kind of, I think with kids, you try and stay safe. You think, oh, they like this, so I'll do it. But then one day they just go, no, I don't want it because I'm sick of your risotto, because for the last 6 months every Thursday night. So I'm definitely heading on over and getting some inspiration.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely. That's why I put them up there, because I just love, you know, that if people just can take that one recipe. And I always say to mums, try one new recipe a month.
Okay, good idea.
You never know. It can become a family favourite. So
yeah, and it's a whole repetition a little bit with kids, isn't it? Because sometimes they might not be very accepting of something the first time.
No.
Is it how many times? I'm just asking for myself now.
Yeah.
Because my little boy is not really big on smoothies. He just prefers water and chamomile tea.
Oh, bless.
I would rather, not rather, but I would like to add, he doesn't have fruit juices and stuff like that. So he's not used to that bang sugar taste, because I don't feed him sugar. But at the same time, now I think, well, because he doesn't really like sugar, he doesn't necessarily want. So how many times should I try with the same? Is it like once every week, or should I do it every second day? Or
well, they say that a child's taste buds change every 2 weeks.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
Ditch it and then try it again in a fortnight's time, because a lot of the time it's not necessarily the taste, it's probably texture with children. So as their taste buds are developing, you know, I've noticed that the majority of time when I've done classes with kids, it's like, it's slimy, or it's actually not, it's not the flavour. So it's that texture. So just, you know, 2-year-old, they're still developing, they're still, you know, everything's changing, all that sort of stuff. So, look, just keep trying little things and empower them, get them involved. Like, you know, if you want to introduce fruit, you know, make him some really cute fruit waters, like make it colourful, like strawberries in it. And like I've got my, I don't know if you can see, my lemon drink here.
Yes.
Yeah, so fantastic. So what I do sometimes is I'll do mint, I'll do cucumbers, you know, just whatever's in there. And, you know, it looks great. And when things look great, it's like, I want to do that. And kids love creating. So just try that with him and say, try some fruit in there, or look at a photo and go, does that look yummy? And if he goes, yeah, go, do you want to try and make it? And he'll be going, all right, let's do this. So, you know, let's make the water pink, or because they love being a scientist. Kids just love that whole creation thing.
Yeah, they do. That's true. That's great information. Like I said, I'll be heading on over tonight and picking your website apart, going, yep, I'm trying that this week.
Yeah, no worries. Let me know how you go with it.
I will. So, Maddie, thank you for today. That's been amazing. I think so much information for people to take away and inspire their kids and inspire themselves. And really isn't that hard to cook fresh, isn't it? Like, really just need a little bit of direction and support, and that's what you're offering, which is wonderful. So head on over to maddirace.com and obviously on Facebook and become part of your tribe and set up the demos, which will be, you know, fantastic for people to actually see you in the process of doing all these beautiful, delicious recipes.
Absolutely. I'm going to jump on and do a demo really soon. So
head on over now.
That's on my agenda. It's Monday and I'm doing a cooking demo. So
fantastic. All right. Thanks, Maddie, again. It was great having you. And
thanks for having me on your show.
I think I'm going to get onto Facebook and watch your demo this afternoon.
I'll talk about the podcast.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thanks,
you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.